Hello and welcome to UnitedQ BBQ Podcast, the only barbecue radio podcast in the UK, brought to you by your host Dan from UnitedQ and his co-host BBQ Forte.
Hello.
On today's show, it's just going to be me and BBQ Forte basically introducing ourselves and having a quick chat, talking to you about what's going to happen in our regular weekly shows in the future. So how they're going to be structured in the future is we would like to get a guest on each week, a barbecue enthusiast, whoever you may be, across the country, get in contact with us, even international. We are looking to venture overseas as well. So if you would like to be on the show, if you could email us at uqunitedq@gmail.com, or you can find us on Twitter, Instagram, Flickr, everything at UnitedQ, or you could find myself on Instagram at Daniel Shahin, or you could find BBQ Forte on Instagram at BBQ Forte. So if you contact us on one of these, one of our social medias or emails, then that'd be great, and we can get you on the show. We'd love to hear from you. We'd love to have a chat. Right. So what I'm going to do is first introduce myself. I'm Dan from UnitedQ, and I am just a barbecue enthusiast. And I sort of started off as more of a sort of grilling enthusiast. I used to grill everything I could. Wouldn't cook anything on the hob. If I could grill it, I'd grill it. So everything would be on the grill. And then I suppose I got more into a bit of charcuterie. So I was curing meats and I was smoking meats, sort of cold smoking wise, and sort of brought both together and started what I consider proper barbecue. So moved down that side of things, and here I am now, loving barbecue more than ever, and sort of barbecue everything I can every day of the week, as much as I can. Rain, sun, wind, snow, anything, I'm out there at the barbecue. So I'm going to ask BBQ Forte to introduce himself now and tell you a bit about himself.
Yeah, thanks Dan. So I'm, as I say, BBQ Forte. I'm a online barbecue blogger and also the creator of the Great British Barbecue Off, which I'm sure we'll talk about more in the show in the future. Like yourself, I started off, I guess, grilling most things. That's kind of the way you get into barbecuing, I think. And growing up, my dad would be always out there grilling on the barbecue. It seemed like the manly thing to be doing, and that quickly got me into taking over. Whenever he wasn't looking, I'd try and get in there, go to any barbecue parties at anyone's houses, and straight away it's like men queuing up by the barbecue to see when they get their opportunity to jump on board.
Men are just drawn to fire.
Yeah. So the ladies are inside gossiping, and the men are outside queuing up ready to try and take over the tools. But like you said, like a few years ago, probably about 3 years ago, I guess now, I started to get really serious into the barbecuing, and as most serious barbecuers do, started off with a Weber kettle, and everyone seems to have one and starts off with that and learns to do everything, I guess, on those, and then from there start to venture out into the big wide world of barbecues and try out different things. But I've had gas back in the day, but it's not something I delve into these days.
I started off with I had a charcoal grill as such, which is a smaller sort of coffin box unit, which I used to grill like all of our standard sort of barbecue food. And then I went out and bought a big sort of gas unit, which was like probably about a few years ago was like all the craze. Everyone wanted this showstopper gas barbecue, so went out and bought one.
The extras.
Yeah, and sort of realised that, well, knew charcoal was the way. That was the reason why I wanted to grill anyway, and sort of just moved back to that after venturing into the gas for a bit.
Yeah, and then the more I got into it, the more you discover about the difference of briquettes versus lump wood versus all these different ways of cooking the food, and you start to get a real love for it all, I guess. There's quite a community out there of people that are willing to share and talk about their experiences. So you get on the Facebook forums and Instagram and follow some people. I'm sure we'll introduce a few on the show, and those sort of people help you out, and you can get really into it, and before you know it, you're a semi-pro or pro, if you know what I mean. You were saying, Dan, a minute ago about getting into cold smoking and stuff. You should tell people about your first cold smoker you home built.
Yeah, so when I started charcuterie, I sort of built myself a bit of a custom unit, which was from an old filing cabinet.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah. So and also I've sort of made my own cold smoking instrument, the Grandmaster Smoke, I like to call it, but it's like a tube with a perforated tube which you fill with smoking pellets, wood pellets, and it burns. A full tube's 50 centimeters and it burns for 13 plus hours. So it gives you a great smoke, a nice thick smoke for about 13 hours. So I'd sit that in the bottom of the filing cabinet, and then I had some smoke spreader holes in the drawer above, and then cut out the bottoms of the drawers for the rest of them, and then used to hang meat or put in grill trays to hold the meat in each drawer. So it worked so well. I was so pleased with it. And then I tried
the first time you showed me the video of it, you like opening the drawer, there's just smoke everywhere, and like, this is actually working.
It was pretty awesome.
Filing cabinet, and it's smoking food.
It was a drill and like a jigsaw cutter, and I had myself an awesome smoking unit. It was absolutely perfect. Still have it now, actually. Still use it for my cold smoking now, because it was so good. So yeah, it's just sat there, loving life.
Lots of people do it with even like old fridges and all sorts of things.
All sorts of things. Cardboard box you can cold smoke. Yeah, cardboard box, anything, because you want your temperatures sort of like below 70 Fahrenheit. You don't want to, a lot of cold smoke, you don't want to melt the fat, so you want to keep the temperature as low as possible, and also you don't want the risk of the food going off, because obviously, so that's obviously another problem. So again, you're smoking cheeses, anything like that, you need to keep the temperature down as low as possible, as you don't want it melting, ending up in the bottom of your smoker. Yeah. So again, with bacon, same sort of thing. If you're smoking bacon, you want to keep the temperatures down, because if you start to render the fat, then you're not going to have a great bacon at the end. So you want to keep the temperature down as low as you can. That was another great thing about the filing cabinets, because the height of the unit, your actual tube was, or your cold smoking device, whatever it may be, was sat at the bottom of that, and you had so much height that it actually kept, even if there was any heat, it wasn't going to affect your cold smoking, which was awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it was the love of sort of that wood smoked food, that flavour, and also the sort of the grilling flavour, the cooking on the grill that got me into sort of what I consider real barbecue, what we're venturing into now, and what we're really sort of experimenting with. And I mean,
you can use your tube that you've made with hot smoking as well, though, can't you? Because you could just put that alongside. If you've got a fire already burning, you could stick your tube at one side, and that'll carry on going still. Again,
I haven't actually used it myself, but it would have been awesome. I mean, a lot of people would talk about how they're going to smoke with gas barbecues and stuff like that. But if you sat one of these tubes on a grate, it would actually turn your gas barbecue into an awesome smoker. I know certain people that burn chips and stuff like that on gas barbecues anyway, but this would be an awesome way that wouldn't cause an awful lot of mess at the bottom of your gas barbecue.
Does the chips stay inside the tube?
Chips stay inside the tube. I mean, when it cools down, I mean, it doesn't really get hot, but after you've finished, pick the tube up out and take it to a bin. Do you like when you pick up like and the charcoal still sort of kept its form? Yeah. Normally, like briquettes, do it a bit better. When you pick out your charcoal basket, you pick up your charcoal basket, coal basket, and it's got all it looks like they're all solid steel. You give it a shake and it all just falls to dust straight through. Yeah, so you just pick it out, take it over to your bin, give it a little shake, and that's it, empty.
Yeah. Does it always just keep burning the whole time? Have you ever had it go out halfway through or anything?
I've never had it go out. Never had it go out once. So what I do is you start it off with a blowtorch at one end, or any sort of flame at one end. Yeah. Let it actually light. So you want to actually burn it until it actually sets on fire. You've got a nice flame, and then what you want to do actually is blow the flame out. Blow the flame out. The embers will then continue to burn. Because of these pellets, they're so dry, those embers burn, and they burn steadily, nicely, and you get, I mean, like I said, I've had over 13 hours, and I haven't actually timed any longer than that. I know for a fact I've had over 13 hours, so I mean, it's such a great economic way to smoke if you're cold smoking.
Pellets, you said. You can use that dust, can't you? I've seen people just packing sawdust into it.
Yeah,
basically.
You can do. Yeah, I've never tried sawdust with what I use, but I know a lot of other cold smoking units or some smoking units use sawdust, and that's great as well. These pellets are just basically sawdust that's compressed, so no difference really. You buy them, you can buy all the different flavors, and actually really cheap, really economical way of doing it. obviously, if you're going to be chucking them onto a barbecue or smoker, they wouldn't really work. They burn out too quickly. It's the same as the chips, really, or sawdust. Some people use chips, pre-soak them. I don't soak my chunks because I don't see the point. But with chips, if you're going to chuck a handful of chips on a barbecue, they're burnt before you know it. So,
what about the pellets? You soak them when you're packing them?
Nope. You don't soak them at all. No. You want them to be as dry as possible. So that's another thing. If you actually find that you have pellets or dust and you're about to cold smoke and they've become a bit damp, a great way to dry them up is you can actually put them in the microwave. Put them in the microwave and blast them for 30 seconds. That should just dry them out. And then they'll burn. So that's quite often a problem if you are actually trying to cold smoke and you're finding that your pellets or dust is going out, keeps going out. That will usually be the cause, is because your wood's sort of damp. So that's a great way to do it, is actually just pack it into a little bowl, put it in the microwave and just blast it a couple of times, 30 seconds. That will dry it out, get it back in, and that should solve your problem.
Cool. Good advice. A feature that I'd like to introduce on the show sometimes is like talking about books and stuff, because I've got loads of books which are awesome. Yeah,
every barbecue enthusiast, it's been Christmas, we've all got our books.
The shelf stacked at the moment. I had to have a clear out of the old reading books now and make more space for the
barbecue books,
meat books.
Well, yeah, I've always been a food enthusiast, always loved food. That was, again, probably the original side to even barbecuing or grilling was my love for food. So even my sort of recipe books, I've got such a massive collection, and now I'm having to start to get rid of some of those because my barbecue collection's becoming sort of astronomical. But you were telling me one about you've just bought recently that you're really interested in, that's not really recipe based, but
no, well, it's got some recipes. It's not really barbecue based, I guess, is the first thing. But I've read a lot of barbecue recipe books now, and I really want to learn more about the actual meat itself and like what cuts are what and where they come from, and like what makes a good meat, I guess. And reading the Ginger Pig meat book is really, really interesting. It's a really good book. And
you've been saying recently about like little bits,
talking about it to everyone, even people that aren't interested. I've just got to keep telling them about my newfound knowledge as a butcher.
Awesome.
Who's never butchered anything.
Oh, great.
Yeah, but yeah, like I said, with that book, it's quite inspiring, really, because he started from nothing. He got like 3 pigs and set up his pig farm, and now he's got over 1,000 pigs, I believe, on his farm, and he's got so many different animals and varieties and
different breeds and everything.
He talks in the book about how to breed like the perfect pigs, and there's different perfect pigs for different reasons. Obviously, if you want bacon and curing, it's going to be different to the big cuts of meat. So there's different ways of doing it. So
it's the same as sort of like
butchers on here, really, at some point, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I hope so. I hope so. And also, something we talked about doing is hopefully doing a butchery course at some point in the future ourselves. So that's one thing we're definitely interested in getting involved with. So there seems to be a few of them around, but it's just trying to find which one's best for what we want. But yeah, that's something that we'd love to talk to as a couple of butchers that are on the barbecue scene that barbecue as well. So it'd be great to have them on the show, listen to their sort of point of view from their side of things. And it's always great to learn more about the meat you're barbecuing. I mean, like you can never know too much about what you're cooking. I always think that. I always try and do a bit of research. And like you were saying about even like the different breeds of stuff. So there's plenty of different meats, different cuts I want to try. But also from every different cut you've got 100 different breeds you could have of it. So there's so much such a big spectrum there to try things out. It'd be cool to hear from as many sort of butchers as we can, to be honest.
Yeah, and farmers seem to know a lot about the meat as well. So I was quite impressed. Really, I've quite often just thought farmers are just going to produce the animal, get them out there, but they do know their stuff. These really interesting guys. Even Joe Lang, he's good friend of mine, good farmer. They produce a lot of lamb on their farm. And
he's actually quite touchy in how it's cooked in the end, isn't he? He likes it to be. He likes the lamb to be done justice.
Yeah.
So it's got to be cooked in not in a particular way, but as long as you've done the lamb justice, he's happy, isn't he? He's a happy farmer.
Yeah. Respect your animal.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think that's awesome. I think that's exactly the way it should be. I mean, I love barbecuing. I love sourcing out the best meat I possibly can, which is why I tend to always go to a butcher's, especially local butchers.
After reading this book, you almost like don't ever want to buy meat in a supermarket again after what it tells you. But I'm
all
sure
for that.
Yeah, I'm sure they're not all bad, but definitely support your local butcher is my advice.
Yeah, definitely.
And get to know them as well, because getting to know your butcher and give them feedback on it. So if you've got a cut from them and you'd rather it had a bit more meat in here and there, like if you know what you're talking about and read books like that book I've just read, then it does teach you enough to be able to like know what you're asking for, I guess, when you go to the butcher. Because often you can go and just say, I want ribs, because you've seen someone cook amazing ribs, and the ribs you end up with aren't the ribs that you saw the picture of.
I think what we've all got to remember is our butchers are not quite geared up for this barbecue scene yet. They are starting to become a bit more clued up, and there are some butchers around, especially the ones that are into barbecue, who are on the barbecue scene, that we quite often sort of hear from and speak to ourselves. But when you go into your average butcher, they're not geared up for the barbecue scene. So a lot of the cuts that we might be looking for, they don't actually regularly produce. So sorts of things like short ribs. Short ribs have been in the British sort of eyes for years. Been a traditional cut, but they're traditionally cut into singles. So if you wanted a plate, all you got to do is ask your butcher, can I have a whole plate? But they wouldn't normally do that. So it's just they're not going to get a plate and just leave it as a plate. So they cut them into individuals, because that's what they've always done. And little stuff like briskets. The UK way of doing briskets, a rolled brisket. You want a whole pack of brisket, you want the whole thing, just ask. Or if you want a particular bit, you want the flat, you want the point end, whatever you want, you can ask for it if you just want one part of it. But the way your butcher's going to do it, until you ask them or speak to them, they will actually, I'm sure, 100% sure that they'll actually respect you for speaking to them about it and actually enjoy learning, because, I mean, that's their trade. They love it. I'm sure they'll enjoy learning a bit about the sort of barbecue world. So if you were to actually ask them for anything, I'm sure they'll actually try and get it for you. I mean, tri-tip's one again. Tri-tip, never seen tri-tip down here at all in any supermarket or any butchers. But as soon as I go to my butchers and I explain to them what it is, no worries. Next time it comes in, get our deliveries on Monday, I'll have it ready for you. Yeah. And that's all it takes, and never look back. It's awesome. So
like you say there, it's key to find a date when they get the deliveries. That's most of the butchers around here now. I know which days they get stuff in. So if you're planning a cook at some point, you need to know which ones are coming in. And
any good butchers will get like a whole animal in, or half the whole animal in, and butcher themselves in there. So anything you ask for, there's no reason why they can't do it, as long as you explain it properly to them. So I mean, the barbecue scene out there, BBQ Forte has already touched on it, the sort of societies and stuff. I mean, I've learned so much from being in there. I've contributed as well, and feel awesome when people sort of like your contributions, say thanks, it's great. But also I've learned so much. So if there's anything you're struggling with, or you want to try a certain cut, just ask on one of these forums, or even ask one of us. Email in a question. We could always answer your questions. That's something we'd be looking to do. So if you hit us up on any of the social medias with a question, we could always answer that. But taking as much information to your butcher as you can, you'll come out with a great quality product ready to slap on the queue.
They love it as well. It's like you said, it's what they're passionate about. So going back and giving them feedback
makes sense. Yeah, makes sense.
Become friends with your butcher.
Yeah, awesome.
Might even have financial benefits.
Well, yeah, certainly, yeah. I mean, I actually played rugby with my butcher's son, and only started going to him. I didn't actually know. I moved to a different area, started using a new butcher's, and it happens to be an old teammate of mine's dad who runs it. So I get a little bit of a cheeky discount there, which is always handy. It's always nice.
Yeah. I think any good butcher will bundle the stuff together you want and give you a good deal on it.
Exactly. If you're going there regularly, and buying this and that, and they'll always look after you. The good quality butchers will always look after you.
Definitely.
So, Barbecue Mondays. We are recording this now. It's a Monday. We have Barbecue Mondays between us, where we've been barbecuing at the weekend, and we haven't quite managed to finish all of that food that we've barbecued. So we bring a bit in for each other to try. It's also a chance to just show off how great we are. But so BBQ Forte barbecued a bit of lamb actually yesterday.
Yep.
Conveniently made it too late that anyone in his family could eat it. So it came off the barbecue about 8 o'clock. So
we had a roast dinner with no meat yesterday, and produced a nice shoulder of lamb just for myself.
Yeah, strategically done though. It wasn't an accident. Strategically done.
Yeah. And used my homemade lamb rub, which I made a few weeks ago now.
It smells awesome. You opened it up and literally smelled absolutely insane.
Yeah, making your own rubs is cool. You should definitely get into that. It's also something cool to do when the weather is too horrific for barbecuing. But
if you're not as lucky as me to actually have a designated barbecue outhouse, then yes, weather may affect you.
Yeah. I still stick with it. I was out there Christmas Day in the rain.
Yeah.
But sometimes.
Get the little gazebo umbrella up. I'd see it.
Yeah, got my big umbrella, Coca-Cola branding. not endorsed by them. But yeah, it's still fine. I've said to you before that I find that having an umbrella over it does hinder the airflow, I think, through the barbecue. So definitely affects my cooking.
Yeah, I can see that. Definitely.
So I don't really like doing it, but
you use one of the ceramic grills, ceramic barbecues, and actually tagged you in something on Facebook the other day. It was like a little mini sort of. It was like a small umbrella unit that sits on top of the.
Sits on the
little chimney at the top there.
On the daisy wheel
looks
part.
Pretty awesome.
So it just sits over that.
Yeah, it looks pretty awesome. Something to try out.
Yeah, won't keep my head dry, but
keep
the meat dry.
Keep the meat dry. That's all that matters these days.
I don't know if the water dripping in is going to help the meat keep moist or not. Bit of acid rain.
Yeah, something to try out. I forgot what took us there. What took us to that then? What?
That was
rubs, rubs and lamb. Yes,
that rub that I made. Anyway, I wanted to make something very lamb specific as a rub, and I went for like smoking some garlic and smoked rosemary. I put all of that into my bullet smoker for about 5 hours and just reduced it all down, dried it all right out.
So you smoked all these herbs and spices actually at home on yourself?
Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, so I thought it's like adding a new layer to it, really, of spending a bit of time actually.
So just for the audience there, how would you go about doing that?
So I just got all of the spices and herbs that I wanted and put them all onto a tray at the top of the smoker, and then put about 4 lumps of, I think I'd used beech when I did that smoke that time.
Okay, awesome.
So I put a load of coal in there. I was actually like smoking some other food down below it as well, but just thought I'd
why
take
not?
full advantage of that smoke that's coming through anyway.
Use it whilst it's there.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So smoked all of those out for a few hours. I think some parts longer than others. They were drying out. I didn't want any of it to burn, so I just dried it out on a piece of like parchment paper.
Cool.
And then after that, put it all into like my coffee/spice grinder. And
his next coffee was mighty funky.
Yeah. Lamb. But it keeps for ages as well. So once you've made that, just stick it in a jar.
I suppose it wouldn't be any different to like the spices you have in your cupboard anyway. I mean, everyone's got one of the spice jars in their cupboard from 1955. It's been there.
It'll be fine.
Yeah, it'll be fine. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I mean, sauces may be a little bit different, but your spices blends. I mean, I'm sure there's no reason why not. Just chuck it in the cupboard. Never lasts that long anyway. Now, once you start barbecuing rubbing, you go through spices like there's no tomorrow. Yeah. So, I mean, I've tried many rubs myself, and some of them have been great, some of them not so great, some of them I felt were almost pointless. Yeah. I tend to make all of my rubs myself, like you, but also I have had some other great rubs. And I hope to actually speak to some of these people that these rub companies that are in the UK. There's a few around that are doing really well, and people swear by their products. So it'd be great to have a couple of them on the show in the future. Maybe give us a bit of some hints and tips on how to produce a great sort of rub blend. Yeah. But I'm really happy with what I do myself, and what I smelt of yours were pretty awesome. So yeah, I always sort of try and push or encourage people to make their own rubs if possible.
Yeah. I like to use the rub as like double up as a sprinkle as well. So I often will rub the meat, then smoke it, barbecue it.
Yeah.
Back afterwards once it's actually broken down, ready to eat. Give it another sprinkle afterwards as well.
Yeah, awesome.
Just gets that real kick of flavour back into the.
There's something really cool to check out. Steve Reichling's Barbecue Bible. It's a website. If you go onto the website, there are some spice matrices on there. If you're ever struggling or wondering what to put on with what goes with this, what goes with that. If you're looking to cook a particular barbecue style, then they also tell you what sort of style uses what sort of rub. So it's a great couple of matrices on there for you to go and check out. I've looked at them before, and sort of they've helped me sort of shape out a couple of my standard go-to rubs as well. So definitely worth checking out.
And while we're talking about like the standard rubs, I said to you the other day, I was doing like a Moroccan dish, and I wanted that Ras Al Hanout, I think it was called.
Yeah.
And I foolishly didn't look up what's in that mixture. But
let's just not name it again. Let's just
My advice to you is to look up what these mixtures, when they talk about these mixtures, look up what they are, because if you're like myself, you've already got a cupboard full of every single spice under the sun.
Yeah.
And actually it's
quite often you have all the ingredients.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's like a garam masala. I mean, people go out and they buy like a jar of garam masala, and I'm like, well, what is the point in that?
Yeah.
You've probably got all the spices already there in your cupboard.
Yeah.
People are going out and buying, spending this much, that much on a garam masala. I'm like, no. You just go for it. You've got it in your cupboard. Mix it up yourself.
Yeah, if you haven't got it, then obviously it can be the cheaper way to get it. But if you have got it all, then why not make it exactly how you like it? If you like it a bit spicier, you can put a bit more.
Exactly. That way you can experiment. You can actually, you can try different things out. You can do this cook. You can add a bit more of this. Do with the next cook, add a bit more of that. Or I didn't like this. Or I didn't like that. And then you end up actually creating your own thing, which is pretty awesome. Always into that.
Yeah. And sauces alike, do the same thing with a sauce.
Yeah.
Even like some of the best sauces, I look on the shelves in the shop, because I know half the ingredients in there are E numbers and preservatives and stuff. If you ignore all those, so ta-da, you've got the recipe for a barbecue sauce.
Exactly. I mean, there's so many different barbecue sauces as well, and again, so many different things you can try. So just give it a try, guys. Just try things out and experiment. I mean, I've seen plenty of different barbecue sauces on these sort of forums, and again, things that I've bought and I've looked at the ingredients of, and I've tried different things, experiment with this, experiment with that, and again, I have sort of I still use the tubes that I bought the barbecue sauces in. I've just refilled them with my own sauces now, and sort of have my own go-to sort of range of sauces that I use in my cupboard, which is pretty awesome. I love it. People will come round for barbecue all the time, and they use my sauces, and it's great to see, because quite often they share the sort of flavours that my rubs do. So it's always sort of just adding that extra layer of flavour and enhancing what you've created. So it's good to have a range of things, and it's good to use a range of spices, and it's good to create yourself, to know what's going in there. So yeah, just pretty awesome. Give it a go.
Yeah, we'll share some of our own recipes at sometimes on the show as well.
Yeah,
I'm a particular fan of your barbecue sauce, as you know. So I'm sure.
Yeah, awesome.
If you're willing, we could share that with the world.
Well, I may have to. No, definitely. There'll be plenty of things coming out on both our social medias and on the UnitedQ social media front. So definitely get involved. Go online and check them out. There'll be stuff coming out weekly, and also that's a chance for you guys to get in contact with us and just tag us in stuff. One thing we'd like to do, a sort of weekly feature, is our favourite post on Instagram. So if you can tag #UQ UnitedQ, or just tag us at UQ UnitedQ on Instagram on your picture, we'd like to probably get a favourite photo of the week, or have a little chat about some sort of favourite photo of the week. So give us a tag, we'll repost, and it'll be great to chat about, or even chat to you about what your picture is. So I quite often get loads of sort of inspiration from Instagram. At least I may not know fully what's happening in the picture, but something excites me, and I'm like, yeah, hell yeah, let's try that out. Like, it looks awesome.
Yeah, we're constantly tagging each other in posts.
Yeah,
it's like, should we have this for Barbecue Monday?
Yeah. No, it's awesome. I mean, social media, it's really, really sort of opened my eyes to what I can do on a barbecue, or what can be done on a barbecue. Maybe even not what I've done yet, but some stuff that I definitely want to try out. When it came to the new year, I definitely made a list of things that I want to do on the barbecue this year. Like, it sounds ridiculous, but when you barbecue all the time, you have your go-to things, and I'm a really experimental sort of person, so I do enjoy trying new things, but I often think about stuff then forget about it. So it's like, at the minute, I actually made a list of things that I wanted to do this new year, that I wanted to get done on the barbecue, and again, we're entering a couple of competitions ourselves this year, so it's sort of, again, until recently, haven't really practiced much with sort of your competition cuts, so your whole briskets, and stuff like that. I haven't really cooked many of them, and it's stuff like that I want to get out and start practicing more and more. So any advice, hints and tips from you guys? We're actually looking to interview some barbecue teams, so if any of you barbecue competitors want to come on the show, then please get in contact with us, get in touch, and we'll get you on the show. You can give us some hints and tips, so hopefully we'll beat you this season coming. Yeah, so but then at the same time, it's just, I've created this list. There's loads of stuff that I want to do, loads of stuff I want to try, and it's just making sure I get there through the year. So there's always plenty of stuff that I see that really inspires me, and hopefully I share stuff that inspires you. So yeah,
I've been doing quite a bit of touring of the barbecue restaurant scene as well at the moment. So
yeah,
I'm getting around trying to review all different restaurants that I go to and try and build up a proper list, because often you get a barbecue restaurant and you go to it and it can be disappointing.
Yeah, not quite barbecue.
Yeah, not quite barbecue. It's not seen any sort of barbecue other than barbecue sauce possibly.
Yeah,
so,
no.
But yeah, getting out there, visiting some proper barbecue restaurants that are doing it properly and sharing the love with everyone.
So this weekend you are actually going to one in Twickenham?
Yeah, Blues Smokehouse.
And
see Jackie Waite.
Yeah, going to meet Jackie Waite. That's Mad Q Barbecue.
Yeah.
Awesome. Met her. Absolute brilliant personality.
Yeah.
Knows hell of a lot about barbecue.
Yeah.
The queen of barbecue.
Yeah.
Priscilla will probably punch me for saying that, but I'll let those two argue that out. But yeah, both hopefully we'll have Jackie in the show in the future, who could definitely teach us a hell of a lot and teach you guys so much. So that's another one to look forward to. I can't wait to hear your feedback from Blues. I've seen some of the food in there and it looks phenomenal. Not had the chance to try it yet, but I've actually lived through your stories. My mouth will water as you are telling me next week, I'm sure. And I'm up to
off to Cardiff.
Yeah, Cardiff. Off to Cardiff on Thursday, and I'll be eating in Smokehouse. Smokehouse. I'll be eating in Smokehouse then. So yeah, I'm on a bit of a January diet. So hopefully my girlfriend isn't listening to this podcast right now.
I can't imagine she will.
I can't imagine she will either.
Well, she already started off. She'd have given up by now.
Yeah,
half an hour in.
She hears way too much about barbecue. She already hates me for talking so much about barbecue already. So I doubt she'll want to listen to my podcast.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm on the January diet, strict orders. My Christmas presents were all too small for me, and I was bought running trainers, so it was all a massive hint for me to start the new year with a bit of a health kick. So yeah, been eating healthy, but I'm going to sneakily when I'm up in Cardiff, when I'm away, I will play, and I'm going to Smokehouse, and I will be enjoying a sharing platter all on my own, all on my own. Whatever they've got, the biggest bundle of different meats coming to me, and I will destroy them all. A little bit excited, can you tell? Yeah, so I'm hoping that will live up to expectations, and we'll probably chat about our experiences next week there. So
I'm looking forward to the Grill Stock restaurant opening in Exeter as well. That's going to be a good
awesome. Currently, right now, Bristol's the closest. Bath? No,
Bath's further for us, isn't it?
Yeah, Bath's a little bit further for us. Yeah, so I mean, been to Bath, and hit Grill Stock up both times. Loved it in there, and
they're cool guys as well.
Can't wait for one to open in Exeter. That'll be awesome. A little bit closer to our doorstep.
Yeah, keep coming, guys.
Yeah, if you ever want to come to Plymouth, more than welcome.
Yeah.
And again, looking forward to hearing about the King of the Grill coming up. So Grill Stock released a little bit of a statement, basically saying they're trying to get some a larger area for King of the Grill competition for Grill Stock this year in Bristol. And they announced that they had a meeting with the council to see if they had that extra space today. So hopefully we'll find out. We will find out, and you other barbecue competitors will find out pretty soon whether you've got on or not, and that'll be great. I mean, already I know we're booked into the Ibis in Bristol, and a lot of people that we speak to online and sort of the other barbecue enthusiasts, we're in contact with, pretty much booked out Ibis there, and that's going to be a cracking sort of weekend for us.
Yeah,
and really looking forward.
Bourbon will be flowing.
Yeah, yeah. Too much bourbon, too much barbecue. That can't happen. So yeah, we'll be loving life. Catch up with us, pull us to the side, chat to us. If you want to come on the show, let us know. We'll be actually whether or not we're competing. We hope we are. Fingers crossed. We'll be there. We'll be podcasting live from there. We'll be periscoping, we'll be tweeting, we'll be Instagramming, we'll be everything. So just get in contact with us, hit us up on one of the social medias. We'll come over and chat to you and hopefully hook some more interviews up in the future.
Yeah, we'll be recording, get some stuff on YouTube.
Yeah.
To share some of all the awesome barbecuers in the UK with the rest of the world.
Yeah, awesome. Right, well, that's us 35 minutes today.
Yeah, signing out.
Gonna sign out for today, and I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you tune in next week. So we're going to be a weekly podcast released on Wednesday each week. And hopefully you will all get in contact with us and want to be on the show. Hopefully people that we can interview in the future. So thanks for tuning in to UnitedQ BBQ Podcast, the only barbecue podcast in the UK. Brought to you by your host Dan from UnitedQ and his co-host
BBQ Forte. Cheers.
Thank you very much.